Is entrepreneurial strategy simply coming up with a great idea? Is that enough? The answer is going to be no, by the way. But this notion has been captured. For instance, if a man can make a better mousetrap than his neighbor, though he lives in the woods, the world will make a beaten path to his door. That was said by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Actually, he said, if a man has good corn or wood or boards or pigs to sell, or can make better chairs or knives, crucibles or church organs than anyone else, you will find a broad, hard-beaten road to his house, though it be in the woods. Well, I guess that is one way to look at it. I like the mousetrap summary. But let's suggest that, come up with a great idea and you'll have all sorts of opportunities to exploit it. Is that true? Well, here's an example where it wasn't true. Sony. Sony saw, long before anyone else, the e-reader. Lots of people did it. It saw the potential of e-ink and came up with this. What happened there? It struggled. Struggled for years. Never quite got the elements right. Here's another example. This is Dan Bricklin with the beard and Bob Frankston. They invented a program, the first killer app of all time, actually, called VisiCalc. You can see it back there on the screen. Let's look at another picture of it. Here is what it looked like. It was a spreadsheet program. It was made originally for the Apple II computer, the first personal computer. Obviously ported to some other computers after that. And it was completely revolutionary at the time. If you look in your readers, or what will follow now, there'll be a reading and also a great little podcast about this that I think you should look at. So a spreadsheet, it's so pervasive today. And what's really interesting about that app, as you look at it here, is this is instantly recognizable what this is. In fact, it's one of the rare ones where you'd be able to use that yourself. It's quite remarkable, really. We talked a bit about architectural innovation. I mean, this is it. This is how you get an architecture going, and it's pervasive and just shaped business ever since, right down to some of the function keys that still persist today. Now, you may not have heard of Dan Bricklin or Bob Frankston, or even VisiCalc for that matter. It transitioned. The real commercial success for the spreadsheet was first by a company called Lotus 123. And that was formed by this guy, Mitch Kapoor, who you might have heard of. Mitch Kapoor was actually an employee of VisiCalc. And also they had some partnerships. It's a little bit complicated, but he was an employee of it. But they ended up saying, oh, it was just a programmer, and let him leave, and he founds Lotus 123, which becomes the big commercially successful spreadsheet maker until it too was taken over, not taken over, but beaten in the marketplace by Microsoft Excel. What this little incident illustrates is an interesting paradox that's associated with entrepreneurship. And it's a paradox that comes because any entrepreneurial idea needs to work with others, usually to bring it to market. And you can work with lots of people, you can tell the world about it. The problem is the more people you tell about an idea, the less control you have over it. So you have this trade-off between getting your idea out there and having it as valuable as possible, versus losing control of it, which is going to be really important if you want to appropriate value from that idea. And so this did happen with VisiCalc. And, in order to get it to market, you've got to have market knowledge and gather knowledge, and you've got to have market experimentation. But those very activities are going to limit your control. You're going to be ceding some of it along the way. And to see why you need that is sometimes that could, if you are overprotective of your idea and you keep it all to yourself, that can lead to disasters. An example of that is, of course, the Segway. The Segway was kept under lock and key, complete wraps, until it then got a big bang launch thereafter. But the problem is that they didn't get to consider important market developments, including social ones, that would have allowed them to experiment and refine their strategy. And so some could argue that they botched it. Okay. So the idea of entrepreneurial strategy is to confront the paradox of entrepreneurship in a very, strategic way. Okay? Entrepreneurial strategy is the plan that a founder or the team undertakes to identify a system for value creation and value capture before the opportunity for value capture actually dissipates. You need systematic experimentation, learning, you have to have strategic commitments, all of those sorts of things. And it can't be this passive process. You actually have to make active choices to establish what you're going to do first, priorities, to make sure everything fits together in a coherent pile, to commit where you have to commit, and you have to ensure value capture. In many respects, it's a plan that runs off the whiteboard and says, here's what we're not going to do.